Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and this is going to be the shortest Wraith reviews you will ever see. Well, that turned out to be bullshit. Sorry, I actually kind of end up going on a completely unbased, random-ass rant partway through this video because I wanted to rant more about Mortal Kombat. I guess I wanted to rant more about Mortal Kombat 11's overall reliance on nostalgia and classic skins and bullshit like that. So, if you're just here for the reviews, watch until this part of the video, and you're free to go. If you want to stick around for the rants, I don't blame you. Of course, you can also use that timestamp in order to just go to the rants if you would like. And while I guess the review itself is actually the shortest at about this length, again, the rant made the thing over half an hour and I just didn't want to cut it. So there you go. Just a quick disclaimer, don't forget to be awesome and enjoy me trashing some classic skins. The preamble may be longer than some of these reviews because we're taking a look at the classic MK2 female skins and the classic MK1 male skins in one fell swoop. Spoiler alert, none of them are above a 4 out of 10. None of them. Zilch. Zero. Nada. Well, except for one, but there's a reason for that. But without further ado, let us begin with the worst and then go up to the best. Scarlet's classic ninja skin is evidently going to be tied, but not quite, because unlike Kitana, Scarlet never wore a classic costume in the sense that she was never around in the original era. Now, there were rumors that, like Ermac, that Scarlet was a red Kitana. As far as I know, those rumors are completely false. So, up until Mortal Kombat 9, on the Vita, as far as I know, yeah, only on the Vita, Scarlet gets the classic skins there, but not anywhere else. This is the first time that a console version of Scarlet gets access to the traditional leotard. And I don't like it. For full clarification, the main reason why I don't like most of these classic skins is because they are completely pointless. There is no reason why these, or the upcoming MK3 skins, which will get a separate review, because they're not out quite yet, there's no reason for them to be here. None at all. And the tainting thing, the thing that taints this even more, is that originally the classic MK2 female ninjas were locked behind a paywall. And if you were unfortunate enough to have maybe gotten the game as an early Christmas present, because the deal started on December 4th, the best way for you to have unlocked the skins was to shell out over $100 US for the skins. Seriously. Which is no. But that aside, and the fact that these were unlockable via the Towers of Time now, I still give Scarlet's a 3. I really think that this was completely pointless. And literally every single other Scarlet skin that she has is better than this classic, which is only classic because of its age and doesn't even fit on Scarlet because, you know what, she wasn't even a classic character to begin with. Not so with Kitana, however, because at least Kitana has the excuse of actually being a classic character. Now, for full disclosure, I didn't quite make it to 5%, so I didn't get the all-blue version. But I'm going to show you something very quickly. If I were to, and this is the only time that this will ever happen on the channel, I equip the skin and then go in and set up a match with this with a player 2 color, it should still just be the all blue. So it shouldn't affect the judgment all that much. I'm just going in here to prove the point. did I say a 3.5 for Scarlet? Because I'm knocking it down to a 2.5. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I was right. So, at least with Kitana, this is a 3.5 because she actually had this skin. But because Scarlet technically never had this skin outside of the PlayStation Vita version of Mortal Kombat 9, which is odd because she technically never existed in the classic Mortal Kombat games, even if we were to count her rumored status as a glitch to be true, which as far as I know it was not, quote-unquote classic Scarlet gets a 2.5 out of 10, whereas Kitana is a full point ahead. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta throw the hat back up. Now. The next set of skins all share the exact same rating. Because, let's face it, they're basically the same skins, just on different characters, and there is a very good reason for them to be here, and that is the classic male ninja skins that came with Shang Tsung. Now, the reason why these are here is because they were part of a skin pack that was attached to Shang Tsung, who had the ability to morph into the other ninjas. That's fine, and I totally understand that concept. However, you already have classic-inspired skins here and here. Why did we need... And here even! There's 3 different versions of classic Scorpion, for instance. If we go to Sub-Zero, we kind of have multiple versions of classic Sub-Zero as well. We have this version, and then we have this version, wherein we have the more intricate patterns, and then we have the more basic patterns, and then we have the basic patterns with chevron type things going on. And then we have Mortal Kombat 1. Somewhere along the lines down here. There it is. And then we have Mortal Kombat 1. We have 3 different versions of the classic skins for Sub-Zero as well as Scorpion. Noob kind of escaped this a little bit, but there's still heavy inspiration here. Like, if you look at Hidden Enemy and compare it to Death Dealer, the inspiration, aside from the shades, is kind of there. So, while Noob kind of escaped having the sort of 3 sets of classic skins and then the classic skins themselves, they all still get a 4. Because, honestly, that gimmick got really old with Shang Tsung, who came out on top not only because, well, he was a brand new character, but also because he came out of it with a fucking swanky-ass Mortal Kombat movie jacket. And, coming up in the Towers of Time, I don't have them yet, but now in the Towers of Time, you can have jacketless movie Shang Tsung. Pretty freaking sweet! But we can go one step further. Overall, the male MK1 ninja skins are a 4, only because they are attached to Shang Tsung. Had they not been attached to Shang Tsung, Scorpion, Noob Saibot, and Sub-Zero would all get a 3 out of 10. The theming works because of who they're attached to with the DLC. And Kitana, and just like Kitana, them being classics saves those skins from being very, very bland and honestly kind of bad. The fact that they had to resort to classic skins instead of giving us new interesting skins, especially since we already had these fucking things that are basically the classic skins with a brand new flair. Not this thing, but still. Ugh. Moving on. The best classic skin is only the best because it has a very interesting gimmick that is no longer, or that is now unique to it. It wasn't unique to it in the past, but it now is. Classic Jade. Now, why is Classic Jade better than the MK1 male ninjas? Better than Kitana, and way better than Scarlet, even though with Kitana and Scarlet, it's just the same drab, boring, drawn-out leotard. Well, it's this thing. It's the staff. Now, the staff has a unique trick to it. In the classic skin, the sparks and glowing effects that you can kind of see at the bottom there are purple. Yes, purple. Whereas, in every other skin, the sparks are green. This was not originally unique to the classic skins. Jade, in her witch skin, used to have sparks that matched the color of the vials on her outfit. So she could have purple. She could have had purple sparks. She could have had cyan sparks. She could have even had orange sparks. But now that delegation has gone exclusively to Classic Jade, and because it is now unique to Classic Jade, she gets a 4.5 out of 10. And that's it. Because Jade is a classic female character from the MK2 era as an actual secret fight, not as a glitch that may or may not have existed, and because she has a unique gimmick with her staff, she is a 4.5 out of 10. She would have been a 3.5 if she didn't have that, just so we're clear. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell, folks. If you want a quick recap, Classic Scarlet, 2.5 out of 10. Classic Katana, 3.5 out of 10. Classic Scorpion, Noob, and Sub-Zero, 4 out of 10. Classic Jade, 4.5 out of 10. That means, in case you are curious, the average Wraith Reviews rating for the classic skins that we got as of Tuesday, August 8th, 1 week before the Mortal Kombat 11, before the new classic skins, oh joy, come out. Let's see, 2.5. Sorry, calculator took a really long time to open up. I'm not that fast with math, so 2.5 plus 3.5 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4.5 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gives a grand total average of 3.75 out of 10. Just shy of 4 out of 10 on average across the board for the classic skins, both for the MK2 female skins and the MK1 male skins. Sorry, I just don't like these classics. With all of the costume design that went into Mortal Kombat 11, looking not at the colors, but at strictly the designs that we got, why, personally, besides nostalgia, besides a desire to relive the 90s, which seems to be Mortal Kombat 11's theme, it's not time travel, it's 90s nostalgia, would I ever pick this skin, outside of cosplaying purposes, over, say, this skin, with the fiery element involved, or this skin, for its simplicity, or this skin, for its little extra bulk attached, even though admittedly it looks very similar, so this could have probably been replaced with something completely different. But also, the unique detail across the board that all of these variations have skull patterns, as in, he's undead. These were partially created because of console and arcade limitations. These were created to be a simple, effective, and iconic design that could be reused several times, as it turns out, to create new characters and movesets and things without overloading the machine. That is an admirable reason to keep these costumes nice and basic in the 90s. These costumes have no place in a Mortal Kombat game outside of a specific classic pack, like the Mortal Kombat 1 ninjas got, and the MK3 champions got, even though they basically already got those skins. Again, another complaint that I had. Just there. I was intending on this being shorter, so this ended up being a bit of a lie because it turned into a rant. But These have no place in the modern era anymore. I'm dead serious. You want to bring back an old skin that fans like, that hasn't been seen in a while? Follow Sub-Zero's example. The last time we saw this was Mortal Kombat Deception, a 3D era game released in 2004. That's 16 years ago, for those who are keeping count. This is perfect. Why did we not get a Deadly Alliance Scorpion? Why did we even bother with classic skins for Noob when we could have had Noob looking a lot more like his shadow clone, sort of akin to Deadly Alliance and Armageddon? Or was it Deception that he was in? I think it was Deception, because that was where Smoke came into. My bad. Regardless, 3D era skins. The 3D era in general is underexploited, and there are ways to make that work. You want classic skins? You want nostalgia to be brought back? Don't just cater to the people who are now in their 30s or even 40s who remember Mortal Kombat. You don't need to do that. What should have happened with some of these classic skins is that, for instance, with Kitana, we shouldn't have gotten this. We should have gotten her Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance outfit. We should have gotten her Shaolin Monk's outfit. One could even argue that we should have gotten one of her Mortal Kombat... Was she? No, she wasn't Mortal Kombat 4, never mind. I completely inaccurate tangent there, and I do apologize. But my point still stands. Mortal Kombat 11 is a game that thrives, literally thrives, off of the 90s. It wants to be the 90s again. Literally. Even the title screen ends up emulating Mortal Kombat 2, one of the hottest games of 1993. Let's take a look at other 90s influences. And here's a prime example. RoboCop. From the late 80s and early 90s, this guy was iconic in his trilogy of movies. The Terminator. Unequivocally 80s and 90s action. Again. And he's a robot. Robots were super popular in the 90s. Spawn was literally created in the 90s. That was literally where he came from. He was birthed from that era. Spawn effectively is the poster boy of the 90s. Think about it. Even looking at what is effectively his classic design here with some tweaks just because I like to mess around with costume design. Look at this thing. Reds, blacks, chains, belts, a singular boot, asymmetry. The guy looks cheesy now, but in the 90s he looked menacing. Take a look at his more recent design. It takes that design and furthers it to be menacing by 2010 standards. But this basic design still holds up in a 90s sense. The Joker. The Joker's interesting because he made his first appearance in 1940. But the insane, crazed, straight-up psychotic murderer Joker first made his appearance in the mid-80s and transitioned very well into the 90s. Before this, Joker was just a gangster with clown makeup on and a bit of a sadistic streak. And in the 50s, 60s, and in the 50s and 60s, well, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, because there was a 15-year period where he didn't show up in any comics or anything, this dude was just a prankster. The Joker that Mortal Kombat 11 based on, and most of the modern Joker stuff, got its start in the 90s. Mortal Kombat in and of itself relies far too much on its 90s charm in Mortal Kombat 11 in particular. I'm gonna make one last tangential point, and then I'll bring it back to the classic skins, I promise. For those who skipped out of this, or for those guys who skipped to this point, I appreciate you guys for sticking around. Or for those of you who watched this point, sorry. If you guys skipped this video, then, you know, you're not hearing this. But let's take a look at the roster really quick, just to knock it out. And I feel like I've complained about this before, but fuck it, I'm doing it again. Mortal Kombat 1. Playable in Mortal Kombat 3. Made his first appearance in Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat X. Exception, one of a handful of exceptions to the rule. We'll talk about that later. Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 2. Fun fact, Jax was supposed to be in Mortal Kombat 1 under the name of Curtis Stryker. And then Curtis Stryker got turned into Jax. And it wouldn't be until Mortal Kombat 3 that we got the cop. Mortal Kombat 1. Sony replaced Curtis Stryker because the devs wanted at least one female character in their roster. Solid. Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1 final boss playable in Mortal Kombat 2. Final boss of Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3. Playable in Mortal Kombat 3. First appears in Mortal Kombat 2 as a secret character, becomes playable in Mortal Kombat 3. And, of course, I'm including things like Ultimate and Tournament Edition and all that, just for the sake of time. Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 1. Supposedly inspired by a Mortal Kombat 2 glitch. But brought back because she was actually very popular in Mortal Kombat 9. Again, an exception. Exception, exception, exception. Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 3. Newcomer, newcomer, newcomer. Mortal Kombat 4. Besides about a third of the roster, I want to say, because we have 33 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we'll count Fujin as a classic era character because he made his first appearance in Mortal Kombat 4. So, just over 1/3 of this roster is from the NetherRealm era. Mortal Kombat X for Cassie Cage, Jackie Briggs, Devora, Kotal Khan, and Aaron Black. 3 of the newcomers, Geras, Collector, and Cetrion. Mortal Kombat 11, obviously. Scarlet's playable and official debut, Mortal Kombat 9, almost a decade ago. Feel old yet? Every other Mortal Kombat character comes from the original trilogy or the classic era as a whole, with one exception, Frost, who makes her first appearance in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Now, I didn't count Frost in this because she is a 3D era character. She doesn't quite fit in with the rest, but even if we counted her outside of the classic era, as arguably I should have, that's still 1/3 of the roster. Only a third that was not, I repeat, was not part of the original trilogy. Of the DLC characters that were not guests, all of them came from Mortal Kombat's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Shang Tsung from MK1, Nightwolf from MK3, Shiva from MK3, Sindel from Mortal Kombat 3, Fujin from Mortal Kombat 4. I'm talking debuts here, by the way, just in case you missed that point. Every single one of these characters appeared in the classic era in some shape or form. Hell, Fujin was one of the last characters to get a digitized sprite in Mortal Kombat Mythologies. This amount of bias is excruciating. Not even mentioning the fact that if the rumored leaks are true, that we're going to be getting even more classic characters. Granted, only a handful of them are actually from the Classic era, which is nice to know. I'm not going to go into the leak details because either you've heard it before, or I don't want to get in trouble with the leaks in case they actually end up being true. Better safe than sorry and all of that. However, I feel like my point needs to be made here. The amount of bias for classic characters is insane for this game. This was coming just off of the heels of another game that introduced more new characters than any Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I did the math back when I was helping edit articles for the Mortal Kombat Wiki. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance and Deception had 10 and 11 new characters respectively. Mortal Kombat X had 8. If we don't count Tremor, which if we do count Tremor, that's 9. If we count Triborg, that's 10. Tied with Deadly Alliance. But it's safe to say we should probably count Triborg as new because he is a new character. A lot of people say, well, he's just an amalgamation of the cyborgs. That's because he downloaded their memories and abilities. He still has unique moves and a unique personality among the robots. Triborg counts as a new character. That's 9 new characters introduced in Mortal Kombat X. We only got 3 in Mortal Kombat 11. We got 1 if we count just Scarlet in Mortal Kombat 9. If you count Cyber Sub-Zero, that's 2. Mortal Kombat 2, in Mortal Kombat 2, 3, 4. Every single Mortal Kombat game except for Armageddon introduced more new characters than Mortal Kombat 9 did. And Mortal Kombat 11 only introduced 3 more playable characters. 4 if you count Kronika, who is not playable yet. I still want her to be playable. But huge, massive, colossal, big, we cannot lie buts here. There is a huge caveat to all of this. Mortal Kombat 9 gets away with it because it's supposed to be a reboot. Right? That's the whole reason why it exists. It's supposed to be a reboot. It isn't. Mortal Kombat 11 is not supposed to be a reboot. It's supposed to be the end. And at the very least, it's supposed to try and do new things. 1/4 of the Mortal Kombat trilogy characters should not have been here and should have been replaced with either 3D era or NRS era representation. Movado, Havoc, Takeda, Kunjin, Ashra. Hell, fucking Kira could have replaced the likes of Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, Jax. This guy deserves a retirement, by the way. Fucking Kano. And if you really want to push it, we could possibly get rid of the Collector, but since he's a new character, he kind of gets away scot-free. Hit all 6 of his arms, avoid damage. Hell, I personally would make an argument for Noob Saibot to be gone. Because Mortal Kombat has expanded beyond soldiers, ninjas, and monks. It went way the fuck out there. And now it's trying to reel itself back, and that hurts this game. And the best signs for it is the fact that we got not 1, not 2, because I didn't count the MK3 skins because they're basically the same as other skins that we already have, outside of just the slightly different pants, basically. For instance, very, very slight differences. At least the classic MK1 ninjas had something of a difference, you know what I mean? But moving on. I'm not counting these. Outside of this point. 1. 2 with Nightwolf. 3 with the classic female ninjas. And in a week, 4 separate packs. 4 separate trios of classic skins. Not counting the bonus with Sonya, which I will count now to get it in the system. That is 13 separate classic skins. And I'm not counting shaders, I'm counting straight skins. Sonya has... She was a launch character, so she starts with 60. Then she gets 70 with Mortal Kombat 3, which, by the way, didn't need to happen. Another example of a skin that didn't need to happen. 7. 8. Again, just excluding the shaders here. 9. Because Revenant does count as a separate skin. 9 skins for Sonya Blade, right? One of these is classic and a duplicate. And that is the most generous case here. Come the time of the release of the Femme Fatale pack, all of the, quote, ninja characters will have at least 2 classic-inspired skins. The females will have the direct clones, which shouldn't be there, period, unless they were free like they are now, and even then, the tainting of them being purchasable with time crystals ruins them. Scorpion now has a 4th skin that looks way too similar. This shouldn't have happened. At best, we should have gotten his Deadly Alliance skin instead. And you know what's really the biggest kick in the nuts for me is? When it comes to one of the characters in the game, Shang Tsung. He has all of the classic ninjas, all of them, from MK1, MK2, MK3, in his arsenal. He has Reptile, he has Ermac, he has Smoke, he has Rain, and with his Fatal Blow, if I can get it to fucking activate because I'm getting a little bit livid here, and with his Fatal Blow, he has Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Noob Saibot. His original super concept involved him using soul magic and blood in order to create magic things that hurt people. If that was his super, and the Mortal Kombat Classic ninjas were the skins, the classic male ninjas would have gotten a 5. I'm dead serious about that, because they don't look terrible. At least, not by the standards of classic skins. But they really didn't need to be there. With Shang Tsung being able to turn into the classic ninjas, why did we even get these? Outside of theming and nostalgia. These fucking things shouldn't have happened. These fucking things should not have happened. Period. That's my opinion on the classic, skins for the ninjas. Agree? You probably disagree, and I want to hear it. So, Be civil about it, please. Don't tell me I've got no brain cells, because I'm still alive, aren't I? And please, oh please, oh please, like, comment, subscribe, retweet, wherever you see this fucking thing. And as always, don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you guys on the other side.